Time Magazine. Gonna get into it now. This is just out 3 days ago. How far-right personalities and conspiracy theorists are cashing in on the pandemic online. So they just make it like it's all about the pandemic. They're using the pandemic and saying, oh, the hysteria, the danger, the threat. We can't let anybody have free speech to question our official narratives. So they say about DLive, the model can be lucrative. They make it all about money. Like this guy that owns Time Magazine is worth $8 billion. And he's crying that Nick Fuentes made $140,000. The model can be lucrative. Viewers pay to watch the live streams through subscriptions and donations. Oh, it's so dangerous. And the platform allows the content creator to keep most of the revenue. Awesome, DLive. Thanks, guys, for the lemons and the ice cream and the diamonds and the ninjaginis. Fuentes, yeah, YouTube took like 30%. DLive gives much more. Fuentes appears to have earned, so Nick Fuentes appears to have earned more than $140,000 off his DLive streams. He's the #1 earner on DLive. I'm not anywhere near there. Cementing himself as the most viewed account on the platform. So he was huge and growing on YouTube. You shut him off. He goes to the alternative because you go, oh, build your own company. Oh, you don't like that you're kicked off of Google? Well, just build your own. Somebody built their own to provide free speech, and then now they go after them too. Fuentes is hardly alone. 8 of the 10 top earners on DLive this year, as ranked by Social Blade, a social media analytics site, are far-right commentators, white nationalists, extremists, or conspiracy theorists. So basically, anybody that just hasn't been let through the gatekeepers of the left and right dialectic, the Zionists and the communist media, that's independent thought, true alternative media, they can't allow it. They throw out all their smears, anti-Semitic, conspiracies, supremacist, all the same stuff, all the terms that they've just conjured up this knee-jerk reaction to normies about. They hear that word and they just go, ugh, they recoil in fear. They say that this George Floyd helped fuel this growing shadowy alt-tech industry. As if alt media and censorship wasn't going on before George Floyd. They're just using, again, another big hysterical incident to justify the takedown today. They say it's full of pundits peddling misinformation, conspiracy theories, and hate speech. Yeah, the mainstream media, Fox News, MSNBC, they've never come up with any theories. They've never talked about any conspiracies. And even as mainstream platforms crack down on far-right propagandists, online audiences grew. How about that? Trying to censor voices that people want to listen to is just going to make people want to listen more. So they kick you off of YouTube and they say, oh, well, it's a private company. They could do what they want. It's not a violation of freedom of speech. You know, build your own. They build their own. We go there, and now they just do the same thing all over again. Or they'll try to buy them out, or they're going to pressure them. I mean, where are the lawsuits? Where are the antitrust free speech lawsuits here? If we were just, I've thought about this a lot. If we're able to get some type of net neutrality, algorithm neutrality, and transparency laws where they can't suppress information, they can't promote authoritative sources, they can't censor things, and they allow the algorithms to be fair, even playing field, the most popular stuff will get promoted to the top and people will be able to really be educated. Almost like the early days of YouTube before they totally took it over. What does it say? Over the past 5 months, more than 50 popular accounts on DLive multiplied their viewership and raked in tens of thousands of dollars in online currency by insisting COVID-19 is fake or exaggerated. Well, that's their right to do. We're allowed to question the government, and we're allowed to say that we think things are exaggerated. What, people shouldn't be able to talk online if you don't believe what the government says? Is this literally the narrative they're trying to push? It says encouraging followers to resist lockdown orders. So again, they're using people's built up fear of the pandemic to try to justify taking down more free speech. What they've intensified the censorship a ton with this COVID-19. They also encouraging followers to resist lockdowns and broadcasting racist tropes. We all know tropes means truths. Anti-Semitic tropes are just things that people have always known
I
about.
agree 100%.
You know who's. Many of those users, including Fuentes, have been banned by major social media platforms like YouTube for violating policies prohibiting hate speech. It's so amazing how they're able to just push this hate speech concept so much. I mean, I don't even need to comment on it because everybody knows, anybody with half a brain knows that this is such a BS term and all the things wrong with it. But this so-called deplatforming, oh, it's just so-called. They're not kicking you off the platform, it's just so-called. Merely pushes them to migrate to less regulated portals, where some of them have attracted bigger audiences and gamed algorithms to make even more money. So gamed algorithms, what's the proof of that? Putting out content that people like, is that considered gaming the algorithms? Putting out content that people resonate with and agree with, that they find value in, that they trust and think is more credible than the billionaire-funded multinational media companies that have been caught lying over and over and over again. And then it's just like, oh, they went somewhere else. We need to get them there too. We didn't get them all the way. We have to just shut down any dissonant voice until there's nothing left. In addition, clips of their broadcasts on less traffic sites still frequently make it onto YouTube, Twitter, and other mainstream platforms, essentially serving as free advertisings for their streams elsewhere. So just crying. This is like the hall monitor, the tattletale. Oh, they're saying that we're bad. They're saying that we're liars. Shut them down. As social media giants like YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook target hate speech and misinformation, sites like DLive seem to be turning a blind eye. I've seen DLive and even BitChute take down some things. But definitely they are, being more reasonable when it comes to free speech. They care more about having good numbers than weeding these people out. Why should they weed people out? Maybe they disagree with big tech's cartel of censorship that are censoring good people speaking the truth. Many teenagers, oh, watch out for the children, one click away from white nationalist content. Many of these far-right personalities allege they are being unfairly censored for conservative political commentary or provocative humor, not hate speech, insinuating that it is all hate speech when it's obviously not. Okay, this is the best part. This is the every single time moment for this article. Far-right propagandists are really capitalizing on this conspiratorial moment, says Brian Friedberg, a senior researcher at Harvard University Shorenstein Center Technology and Social Change Project. They say it's a conspiracy that Jews are wanting to censor critics of Jewish power. And then they do it. They censor anybody that calls out any of the crooked stuff they're doing, and then proving that we're right. We say that they own the internet. They're all working to shut down the internet when we say they control the internet. I mean, literally, how many every single times are in this that this is their sourcing. Friedberg at Harvard, at the Shorenstein Center, we're talking 2% of the population. It's sickening. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, as well as payment processors like PayPal and GoFundMe, have all shut down accounts run by far-right agitators, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists. They're saying they removed David Duke, Richard Spencer from Twitter. But these purges hardly solve the problem. Many online extremists were on mainstream platforms like YouTube long enough to build a devoted audience willing to follow them to new corners of the internet. I mean, yeah, they think that censoring is going to make people go away and they're just going to give up. It's going to put people out of business. It's going to slow them down. Free speech and our arguments, my information at No More News. I mean, I use all mainstream media to prove what I'm saying. I show original sourcing. I show OCD levels of undisputable evidence. And that's why all they can do is try to shut me down, ban me from PayPal, demonetize me from YouTube, suppress me and hide me from all the algorithms on YouTube and on Google. And still, you guys are on DLive right now. Almost 700 people. How many on YouTube? 1,800 on YouTube. Just a guy ranting in his room in front of a computer, reading news articles, and they can't allow it. America built on freedom of speech, and they're not the freedom of press. These people are such anti-American scum at the Shorenstein Center. Some had long prepared for crackdown by setting up copycat accounts. They make it sound so nefarious. Copycat. They're called backups, or just, we want to get on other platforms. Across different platforms like Twitch, DLive, or TikTok. These people build their brand on YouTube, and when they get demonetized or feel under threat, they'll set up backup channels on DLive or BitChute. It says Megan Squire, Computer Elon University, who tracks online extremism. I'm sure she's fun at parties. They know it's going to happen and plan ahead. It's like
she's just this like Jewish whore roasting
with freedom of thought. And in the audience, like if I wasn't making YouTube, this would if I wasn't a content creator, I would just be just as outraged. Like the voices that I watch, the content that I like, I can't watch them on my smart TV. I have to watch BitChute on my cell phone instead of on my smart TV. That pisses me off. They don't let you donate through to the people, to the voices that you like. It's just an assault on all of us. Censorship leads to genocide. Good people don't do this. For platforms like DLive, becoming what their users consider, quote, free speech and uncensored alternatives can be lucrative. They make it all about the money. They make it sound like it's some, like just they can get funded by billionaires who own billion-dollar companies, but just the normal folks, they're not allowed to have small grassroots independent media. They're so disgusted and they see us in competition and we smash them. If they weren't suppressing our arguments and our information, they would be totally eclipsed. This is the only way they can even stay in business and keep their control on the public. Because normies, they're brainwashed by this sophisticated propaganda. And if they were exposed to alternative voices, they would get it. But it isn't happening right now. More speech also means more money for the platform, and less content moderation means less of an expense. DLive allows content creators